the forest hummed with an almost unbearable excitement, a palpable tremor that vibrated through the ancient pines and rustled the fallen leaves under my paws. Today was the claiming ceremony, the day the Moonwood Pack would witness their alpha, Alaric, formally choose his Luna. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat that echoed the joyous anticipation swelling within me. I was Aurora, a hunter born and bred, swift and silent in the woods. But today, my usual calm was replaced by a dizzying mix of nerves and elation. For weeks, the whispers had grown louder, the glances from the elders more meaningful. They believed Alaric would choose me. Alaric. His name alone sent a shiver down my spine, a thrill that had nothing to do with fear. He was everything an alpha should be, strong, decisive, with eyes the color of molten gold, and a presence that commanded instant respect. He led the Moonwood Pack with an unwavering hand, his decisions always for the good of his people. Our connection had been undeniable, a silent understanding passing between us during training, a shared laugh during a hunt. It wasn't the searing, instant recognition of a fated mate bond, but something deeper, more earned, a slow burn that had steadily grown into a powerful, comforting flame. The clearing where the ceremony was held was packed with wolves, their fur sleek and shining in the afternoon sun. Their scent, a comforting mix of pine and damp earth, usually grounded me, but today it seemed to swirl with a heightened energy. The elders, their faces etched with ancient wisdom, sat in a solemn circle around the sacred stone, their eyes fixed on Alaric as he stood before them, his powerful frame radiating coiled energy. My packmate, a young healer named Bronwyn, nudged me. "You look radiant, Aurora," she whispered, a knowing smile playing on her lips. "He's chosen wisely." I managed a shaky smile in return, my throat tight. This wasn't just a personal milestone. It was a defining moment for the entire pack. The Luna represented the heart of the pack, nurturing its spirit, guiding its growth. To be chosen was the highest honor, a sacred responsibility. Alaric raised his hand, and a hush fell over the clearing, broken only by the rustle of leaves. His voice, deep and resonant, carried across the clearing. "By the grace of the moon goddess, and with the unwavering support of my pack, I, Alaric, alpha of the Moonwood Pack, choose my Luna." His golden eyes swept across the gathered wolves, then settled on me, a profound warmth blossoming within their depths. "I choose Aurora." A collective gasp, then an eruption of cheers and joyous howls filled the air. My name, called by his voice, vibrated through my very bones. A fierce surge of power coursed through me, a vibrant energy that felt like the earth itself responding to his declaration. It was intoxicating, exhilarating. As I stepped forward, my legs surprisingly steady, a faint, silvery mark, the symbol of the Luna's bond, began to shimmer on my wrist, mirroring the deeper, more intense glow that appeared on Alaric's forearm. It wasn't the typical bond mark of fated mates, which often appeared with a blinding flash, but a soft, steady luminescence, growing brighter with each step I took towards him. This was a chosen bond, forged by pack tradition and deep respect, a visible testament to Alaric's decision. When I reached him, Alaric's hand reached out, strong and warm, closing around mine. His thumb brushed over the nascent mark on my wrist, and a jolt of comforting power passed between us. His golden eyes, usually so serious, softened with an emotion I could only describe as profound contentment. "My Luna," he murmured, his voice husky, and the words settled in my soul, solid and real. The celebration that followed was unlike any I had ever witnessed. Feasts were laid out, stories were shared, and the pack danced late into the night under the watchful eye of the crescent moon. I felt powerful, destined, embraced by my pack, and by Alaric's unwavering presence. This was my place. This was my purpose. I was the Luna. The initial days of my new role were a whirlwind of activity and learning. I spent hours with the elders, absorbing their wisdom, understanding the intricate workings of the pack's traditions and spiritual practices. I assisted Bronwyn in the healing tent, offering comfort and care. I walked the packlands with Alaric, learning to see them through his eyes, recognizing the subtle shifts in the territory, the needs of every family. My connection to the pack deepened, and with it, the quiet hum of power within me seemed to grow stronger, a gentle current that flowed through my veins. Alaric was a patient and supportive alpha, always there to guide me, his hand a constant presence at my back. Our bond, the chosen bond, deepened with each passing day, solidifying into a steadfast partnership. I felt cherished, respected, and undeniably happy. The future of the Moonwood Pack, with Alaric as its strong leader and me as its nurturing heart, seemed bright, limitless. But then, a subtle shift began. It started small, almost imperceptible. A patch of wild berries, usually abundant in the southern glade, began to wither, their leaves curling and browning before their time. A few days later, a young deer, known for its robust health, was found dead, with no apparent injury or illness. The hunters, usually skilled at tracking, found their paths strangely obscured, their usual instincts dulled. Initially, these incidents were dismissed as isolated occurrences, perhaps a harsh turn in the weather or a localized blight. But then, the incidents grew more frequent, more alarming. The crops in the fertile valley, usually robust and green, began to yellow and stunt their growth. The pack's water supply, fed by the mountain springs, seemed to diminish, the stream's flow weakening to a trickle. A subtle pall seemed to settle over the territory, an unseen hand draining its vitality. The pack's mood began to shift. The joyous energy of the claiming ceremony slowly dissipated, replaced by a growing unease. Wolves who were usually boisterous became quiet, their eyes clouded with worry. The laughter of the pups seemed to echo rather than fill the air. Bronwyn approached me one afternoon, her brow furrowed with concern. "Luna Aurora," she began, her voice hesitant, "I've seen an increase in sickness, not severe, but persistent, a lingering cough, a weakness in the limbs, a fever that comes and goes. Our usual remedies aren't as effective." My heart sank. My own energy, usually vibrant, felt strangely muted, a faint sense of exhaustion clinging to me despite adequate rest. I had attributed it to the demands of my new role, the endless learning, but now a cold dread began to coil in my stomach. Alaric, ever vigilant, noticed the change. His golden eyes, once filled with contentment, now held a deep worry. He called for a council of elders, their faces grim as they discussed the escalating problems. I sat beside him, my own anxieties mounting, a chilling premonition beginning to settle over me. During the council, the elder called Old Man Thorn, his voice raspy with age and concern, spoke gravely. "The land is sick. The pack is sick. This is not natural, Alpha. This feels unnatural, as if a shadow has fallen over us." His gaze, usually kind, flickered towards me, a subtle, almost imperceptible hint of fear in their depths. I felt a chill that had nothing to do with the fading light. It wasn't just Old Man Thorn. I began to notice it in others. The casual glances from pack members, once filled with affection and respect, now held a flicker of apprehension, a hesitant withdrawal. When I approached a group of pups, their usual joyous yelps of greeting were muted, their parents subtly pulling them closer, their eyes darting nervously between me and their children. The realization hit me with the force of a physical blow. They were afraid, and their fear was directed at me, the Luna, the one who was supposed to nurture, to protect. One particularly grim morning, a vital hunting party returned, empty-handed, their traps disturbed, their prey scattered. This was unprecedented. The pack's food stores were dwindling rapidly. Panic, a cold, insidious entity, began to seep into the community. That evening, I sought out Old Man Thorn. His small den, usually filled with the comforting scent of herbs and ancient stories, felt heavy with unspoken truths. "Elder," I began, my voice trembling despite my best efforts. "The Paquet, they look at me differently. With fear. Why?" Old Man Thorn sighed, a deep, weary sound. He looked at me, his gaze filled with a profound sadness that pierced me to the core. "Aurora," he began, his voice barely above a whisper, "there is an ancient prophecy, spoken only in whispers, feared by all. It foretells of a time of great darkness, when the land will wither and the pack will sicken." He paused, his gaze fixed on my bond mark, which, in the dim light, seemed to pulse with a faint, uneasy shimmer. "It speaks of a Luna who is not truly destined, a Luna whose presence brings not life, but decay." The words struck me like lightning. My blood ran cold. A Luna who is not truly destined. It couldn't be. Alaric had chosen me. I felt powerful. I felt right, but the evidence, chillingly, was mounting. The dying plants, the sick wolves, the failing hunts. All of it started after I was claimed. But, Alaric chose me," I protested, my voice raw with desperation. "My bond markets here." I clutched my wrist, as if to prove its existence, its validity. Old Man Thorn shook his head slowly. "The moon goddess's true fated bond is pure, unwavering. It brings vitality, growth. What we are seeing, this is the opposite. It is a drain, a curse." His eyes, filled with a terrible certainty, looked at me not with malice, but with a profound, terrifying sorrow. They say you are not the Luna. You are the curse. The one prophesied to end the Packer or save it." The last words hung in the air, a chilling echo in the silent den. End the pack, or save it. The weight of that prophecy, the crushing realization of what I might be, settled over me like a suffocating shroud. I was supposed to be their Luna, their hope. Instead, I was their fear, their possible destruction. And the terrifying question began to form in my mind. If I was the curse, what then of Alaric, the Alpha who had chosen me, the wolf to whom I was now irrevocably bound? Was I dragging him down with me? The power I had felt, the sense of destiny, was it all a cruel illusion, a deceptive lure leading us all to ruin? The words from Old Man Thorn echoed in my mind, a relentless, chilling refrain. You are the curse, the one prophesied to end the packer or save it. The air in his den felt thick with unspoken fear, a tangible weight that pressed down on me, suffocating. My lunar mark, once a source of pride, now burned on my wrist like a brand, a symbol of a destiny twisted, corrupted. I stumbled out of the elder's den, the cold night air doing little to extinguish the fire of terror now raging within me. The sounds of the pack, usually comforting, now seemed distant, muffled by the roaring in my ears. Every rustle of leaves, every distant howl felt like an accusation. I was supposed to be their strength, their comfort, their guiding light. Instead, I was a harbinger of decay, a walking shadow over their lives. My first instinct was to seek Alaric, to find solace in Tal, his unwavering presence, to have him deny these terrifying words. But as I walked, my steps uncertain, the thought of his face, the potential for his golden eyes, to mirror the fear I now saw in the others, stopped me cold. How could I face him, knowing what cash I now knew? How could I look at him, knowing I might be slowly draining the life from his pack, from everything he held dear? I retreated to my own den, a place that once felt like a sanctuary, but now seemed to mock me with its emptiness. I paced, my wolf restless and agitated within me, mirroring the turmoil in my mind. The power I had felt after the claiming ceremony, that vibrant surge of energy, now felt like a hollow ache, a subtle drain, rather than an empowering flow. Was it always like this? Had I been so blind, so caught up in the euphoria of being chosen, that I hadn't noticed the subtle signs of decay until they became undeniable? Sleep offered no escape. My dreams were a terrifying kaleidoscope of wilting crops, sick wolves with dull eyes, and the chilling, prophetic whispers of Old Man Thorn. I woke with a gasp, sweat slicking my skin, the pre-dawn chill doing nothing to alleviate the internal coldness that had settled deep in my bones. The next few days were a blur of agonizing self-consciousness. I tried to go about my duties, but every interaction felt strained. When I offered a remedy to a coughing pup, its mother flinched almost imperceptibly. When I walked through the fields, the healthy parts seemed to shrink away, and the wilting stalks appeared even more pronounced in my presence. The fear in the pack's eyes, once a subtle flicker, now seemed to solidify, a tangible barrier between me and them. Even Alaric, usually so attuned to my every mood, seemed distant. He was consumed with the pack's growing crisis, his face etched with worry. He tried to reassure me, to tell me that the elder's words were born of fear, not truth, but I saw the subtle tension in his jaw. The way his gaze lingered on my bond mark, the mark that pulsed with a faint, unsettling shimmer, rather than the vibrant glow it was supposed to possess. He was trying to protect me, but I knew, with a horrifying certainty, that he was also wrestling with his own doubts, his own fears. One afternoon, the young, swift hunter, usually full of boundless energy, collapsed during a training exercise, his breathing ragged, his eyes unfocused. Bronwyn worked frantically, but her usual remedies seemed to have no effect. A deep, primal fear pulsed through the pack. This was more than just sickness. This was a draining of life itself. Panic spread through the pack like wildfire. The murmurs grew louder, more desperate. I heard snippets of conversations as I passed. It started after she was chosen. The prophecy, it must be true. She's the curse. My heart shattered. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was resentment, despair. I was the symbol of their suffering. I sought out Old Man Thorn again, my desperation clawing at my throat. Elder, I pleaded, my voice hoarse. If I am the curse, what can I do? How do I stop it? How do I save them? He looked at me, his eyes filled with a mixture of pity and a terrible, ancient wisdom. The prophecy speaks of two paths, Aurora. To end the packer, or to save it. But it does not specify how. It speaks only of a choice, a sacrifice. To break the curse, one must understand its origin. And often, that origin is tied to ancient grievances, to unfinished business, to a wound in the land itself. He paused, his gaze drifting towards the distant, forbidden Shadow Peak Mountains. A jagged range, shrouded in perpetual mist, whispered to be home to ancient, forgotten magic. Some believe the curse is tied to the Sunstone Amulet, lost generations ago. A powerful artifact, steeped in both light and shadow. The Sunstone Amulet. I had heard legends, nursery rhymes almost, of a powerful talisman that could either heal or destroy. It was said to be hidden in the treacherous Shadow Peak Mountains, a place no Moonwood wolf dared to tread, feared for its volatile magic and the feral wolves said to reside there. The Sunstone Amulet? I whispered, the name feeling heavy on my tongue. But it's just a legend. Legends often hold a kernel of truth, child, Old Man Thorn said, his voice grave. And in times of desperation, desperate measures are often required. But be warned, the Shadow Peaks are not merely dangerous, they are cursed. A place of dark power. Many have sought the amulet, none have returned. I knew then what I had to do. The fear in the pack's eyes, the quiet suffering of the pups, the despair etched on Alaric's face, I couldn't bear it. If I was the curse, then I would be the one to break it. If I was destined to end the pack, I would fight with every fibre of my being to save it, even if it meant facing a legendary curse in a forbidden mountain. Even if it meant sacrificing myself. The thought of leaving Alaric, of severing the bond that had meant everything to me, tore at my heart. But the possibility of saving his pack, of freeing him from the burden of my presence, outweighed all personal fear. I knew Alaric would try to stop me. He would never let me walk into such danger alone. So I would have to go alone, in the dead of night, while the pack slept, exhausted by their worries. I would leave. I would seek out the Sunstone Amulet, and I would either break the cursor or die trying. My mind, usually so filled with pack duties, was now consumed by a single, desperate purpose: redemption. The moon, a sliver of silver against the inky canvas of the night sky. offered little illumination as I slipped from my den. Every shadow seemed to stretch and writhe, echoing the turmoil within me. The scent of the sleeping pack, usually a comforting blanket, now felt like a suffocating weight of expectation and fear. I moved silently, my hunter's training allowing me to glide through the forest floor without a rustle, a ghost in the familiar woods. My heart ached with every step away from the Moonwood territory. Leaving Alaric, leaving the pack I loved, felt like tearing a piece of my soul away. But the alternative, watching them wither, knowing I was the cause, was unbearable. I was the curse, and if there was any chance of lifting that shadow, I had to take it. The prophecy's chilling dual nature, end the packer, or save, it was a constant drumbeat in my mind, pushing me forward. I carried only a small pouch of dried meat, a waterskin, and a worn map, salvaged from an old explorer's journal in the pack's forgotten archives. It depicted the treacherous paths leading to the Shadow Peak Mountains, a place whispered about in fearful tones, marked by jagged peaks and an ominous cloud that perpetually clung to its highest summits. Old Man Thorne's words about the Sunstone Amulet were my only guide, a desperate hope in a sea of despair. As the first tendrils of dawn painted the eastern sky in hues of bruised purple, I reached the edge of the Moonwood territory. The shift in the land was immediate and stark. The vibrant, living forest gave way to a desolate, stony terrain. The air grew colder, thinner, carrying a faint, unsettling scent of ozone and something metallic, like stale blood. This was the threshold of the Shadow Peaks. The journey was brutal. The terrain was unforgiving, jagged rocks tearing at my worn boots, loose scree threatening to send me tumbling down treacherous inclines. The higher I climbed, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. The air seemed to cling to me, heavy and suffocating. The few plants that grew here were stunted, twisted, their leaves a sickly grey. The silence was profound, broken only by the mournful whisper of the wind through the barren crags. No birds sang, no small creatures scurried. It was a land utterly devoid of life, steeped in a chilling stillness. My wolf, usually a source of strength, felt uneasy within me, a low growl rumbling in its chest. It was a primal warning, an instinctual recoil from the unnatural energy that permeated this place. I felt the drain on my own vitality, subtle at first, then growing more pronounced. My steps became heavy, my muscles screamed with fatigue, and a persistent headache throbbed behind my eyes. This was the curse, manifesting not just in the environment, but in me, the one who carried its weight. Days bled into one another, marked only by the rising and setting of the sun, obscured by the perpetual cloud cover. I rationed my meagre supplies, each mouthful tasting like ash. The cold seeped into my bones, and hunger gnawed at my stomach. But the desperate need to find the amulet, to break the curse, pushed me onward. The map was vague, hinting at ancient ruins and treacherous ravines. I navigated by instinct, drawn by a faint, almost imperceptible pull, a subtle resonance in the air that seemed to emanate from the highest peak. It was a dark echo of the power I had once felt, twisted and distorted, but undeniable. One afternoon, as a thick fog descended, clinging to the mountainsides like a shroud, I stumbled upon what looked like the remains of an ancient structure. Crumbling stone walls, half buried in scree, hinted at a forgotten civilization. This was it. The legends spoke of a hidden temple where the sunstone amulet was said to reside. The entrance was a narrow fissure, almost swallowed by the rocky face. I squeezed through, my heart pounding with a mixture of dread and grim determination. The air inside was stagnant, heavy with the scent of dust and decay. The path sloped downwards, leading into the heart of the mountain. I moved cautiously, every shadow seeming to hold a hidden threat. The passage opened into a vast, cavernous chamber, dimly lit by cracks in the ceiling high above. In the centre, on a raised dais, was a pedestal, and upon that pedestal, bathed in a faint, ethereal glow, sat the sunstone amulet. It was larger than I expected, a single smooth stone, the colour of twilight, encased in intricate silver workings that resembled intertwining roots and branches. It hummed with a low, potent energy, a vibration that resonated deep within my bones. But it wasn't the warm, life-giving energy of the moon goddess. This felt cold, ancient, and undeniably powerful. As I stepped closer, drawn by an irresistible pull, a voice, ancient and resonant, echoed through the chamber, seemingly emanating from the very stone itself. It was a voice that whispered of forgotten ages, of power both grand and terrible. "So, the cursed Luna returns," the voice intoned, a chillingly calm observation. "The one who carries the burden of the broken pact. You seek salvation, little wolf. You seek to break that which you embody." I froze, my hand hovering over the amulet. "Who? How are you?" I stammered, my voice barely a whisper in the vast chamber. "I am the Guardian," the voice replied, the tone devoid of emotion. "The echo of those who fell, of those who broke the balance. This amulet, it is not merely a tool. It is a mirror. It amplifies. It reflects. The strength, the bond it creates is dependent on the purity of the will that wields it. And the pact broken by your ancestors, it was not pure." My mind reeled. Broken pact? My ancestors? This was more than just a random curse. It was tied to my lineage, to something in the history of the Moonwood Pack I didn't know. "What broken pact?" I demanded, finding my voice, my desperation overcoming my fear. "How do I break the curse? How do I save my pack?" The voice chuckled, a dry, rustling sound, like dead leaves. "To break a curse, one must understand its origin. The Moonwood Pack, long ago, made a pact with the Shadow Peak Guardians, keepers of this land's raw energy, a pact for prosperity, for power, but it was broken by treachery, by greed, and the curse, the drain you feel, is the consequence. The Sunstone Amulet was meant to be a bridge, a conduit of balance, but when the pact was broken, it became a siphon, drawing life from the betrayers and their descendants. But I didn't break any pact. I cried, despair rising in my throat. "No," the voice conceded, "but you are of the bloodline, and when the Alpha claimed you, a Luna of the cursed line, the amulet awakened, fully. You are not the curse. Little wolf, you are merely the conduit, the amplified mirror of a long-forgotten transgression. The revelation slammed into me with devastating force. I wasn't inherently cursed. I was just the unfortunate link, the living manifestation of an ancient betrayal. The relief, however fleeting, was quickly replaced by a chilling new terror. If the curse was tied to an ancient pact, how could I, a mere Luna, hope to mend it? How do I fix it? I pleaded, my gaze fixed on the glowing amulet. How do I reverse the drain? Tell me. The voice grew softer, almost mournful. To save the pack, you must forge a new pact, a pact of true balance, with the guardians of this land, with the spirits of the mountains. But this requires a sacrifice not of life, but of will, a complete surrender to the balance, and a strength of spirit few possess. Are you truly prepared, little Luna, to face the true cost of redemption? The guardian's words hung in the air, cold and heavy. I was not the curse, but the symptom. The sunstone amulet, amplifying my presence, was simply fulfilling its function, draining the energy of the descendants of those who broke the pact. To break it, I had to do more than simply wield a powerful artifact. I had to heal an ancient wound, reconcile a long-forgotten betrayal. The task was far more daunting than I could have imagined. And the sacrifice of will, the complete surrender to balance, what did that truly mean? I only knew one thing. I had to try. For Alaric, for my pack, for the lives I had inadvertently threatened. The ancient voice, the echo of the Shadow Peak Guardians, continued to resonate through the cavern, its words painting a chilling picture of a long-forgotten betrayal. The Moonwood Pack, long ago, made a pact with the Shadow Peak Guardians, keepers of this land's raw energy. A pact for prosperity, for power, but it was broken by treachery, by greed. The weight of generations of hidden guilt settled on my shoulders, heavier than any physical burden. I wasn't cursed, I was a consequence. My bond with Alaric, instead of bringing forth the pack's nurturing energy, had unwittingly amplified this ancient siphon, drawing life from the land as the amulet reflected my presence. What kind of pact? I asked, my voice barely a whisper, gazing at the pulsating sunstone amulet. Its light, no longer just cold, now seemed to hold a subtle, sorrowful glow, reflecting the ancient pain it embodied. What treachery! The guardian's voice, though still ancient, now carried a hint of weariness, as if recounting a long, painful history. The Moonwood ancestors sought dominion over these lands, not just peaceful coexistence. They made a solemn vow, swearing allegiance to the mountain spirit in exchange for bountiful harvests and unparalleled hunting grounds. But they twisted the terms, took more than was given, and when the mountains demanded their due, the pact was broken through cunning and deceit rather than honor. The Sunstone amulet, meant to be a symbol of shared prosperity, became a vessel of retribution. It would drain the life force of the betrayer's lineage until the Basha balance was restored, until a Luna of the cursed bloodline chose to mend the ancient wound. The full horror of the situation crashed down upon me. Generations of Moonwood prosperity had come at a hidden cost, a debt now being collected, amplified by my presence. This wasn't just a personal curse. It was a generational reckoning. And the sacrifice of will? I pressed, desperation clawing at my throat. What does it mean to surrender to the balance? It means releasing all claims of dominion, the voice explained, its tone solemn. Accepting coexistence over control. It means offering a piece of yourself, not of your life, but of your inherent drive for power, for ownership. To truly align with the mountains, you must become a vessel of their truth, not an instrument of their exploitation. It means you may not be able to wield the Moonwood Alpha's power in the same way, or assert dominance over these lands. It means finding harmony, not control. The implications were staggering. To save the pack, I might have to fundamentally alter the nature of my lunar status, perhaps even weaken my bond with Alaric, a bond forged on the premise of a dominant alpha and his Luna. The thought of losing that sense of shared purpose, that powerful connection, filled me with a sudden, profound grief. But the image of the sick pups, the wilting crops, flashed in my mind, stealing my resolve. "I'll do it," I declared, my voice firm despite the tremor in my hands. "Tell me how." The guardian's voice seemed to soften, almost approvingly. "Touch the amulet, Lunar Aurora. Place your hands upon it. Let your intentions be pure. Your will surrendered. Let your deepest desire be for balance, for healing, for the prosperity of all, not just your pack. Allow the energy of the sunstone to flow through you, to merge with your own spirit. It will guide you. But the process will be painful. It will challenge the very core of your being. It will demand a shedding of the old self, a rebirth into balance." I took a deep breath, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. This was it. The moment of truth. I stepped onto the dais, my bare feet cold against the ancient stone. The sunstone amulet pulsed, its light drawing me in, both frightening and compelling. I extended my hands, palms down, and placed them gently upon its smooth, cool surface. The moment my skin touched the amulet, a searing, blinding white light erupted, engulfing the cavern. An agonizing jolt of energy shot through me, hot and cold at once, tearing through my veins, consuming me. I cried out, a raw, involuntary sound, as the world dissolved into a maelstrom of sensation. I felt ancient memories flood my mind, not my own, but the collective memories of the Shadow Peak Mountains. I saw images of a thriving Moonwood pack, proud and strong, entering into a pact with spectral figures, the ancient guardians of this land. I saw the solemn vows exchanged, the promises made under a full moon. Then I saw the shift, the gradual encroachment, the subtle exploitation, the cutting of sacred trees, the damming of vital rivers, the arrogant dismissal of the spirit's warnings. And then the final, brutal act of betrayal, a ritual of dominance, meant to seize control, instead breaking the fragile balance, twisting the sunstone amulet into a tool of slow, agonizing retribution. I felt the mountains' pain, their slow bleed, their righteous fury. And I felt the Moonwood ancestors' arrogance, their fear, their descent into greed. The pain was excruciating, not just physical, but spiritual. It felt as if my very soul was being unraveled, examined, stripped bare. I saw my own desires, my pride in being chosen as Luna, My longing for power to protect my pack, magnified, questioned. Was my will truly surrendered? Was my desire for balance pure? Or was there still a lingering whisper of that ancestral ambition? Surrender, the guardian's voice thundered, echoing through the swirling light. Release your claim. Become one with the balance. I fought against it instinctively. My wolf, a creature of fierce loyalty and protection, recoiled from the idea of surrendering power, of giving up control. It was against its very nature. But then, an image of Alaric flashed in my mind, his face etched with worry, then with hope. And the struggling pups, their eyes dulled by illness. My love for them, my desperate need to save them, surged through me, overpowering my primal instincts. I surrender! I gasped, the words torn from my throat. I surrender my will to the balance. For my pack, for the land, for all. As the words left my lips, the blinding light softened, shifting from white to a warm golden glow. The agonizing pain receded, replaced by a profound sense of peace, the deep, resonant hum that vibrated through every cell of my being. I felt a subtle change within me, a recalibration, a shedding of old expectations. The power I had felt before, the subtle drain, was replaced by a gentle, steady flow, a connection not of taking, but of receiving and giving in equal measure. When the light faded, I stood on the dais, trembling that whole. The sunstone amulet pulsed softly, its light now a steady, warm gold, radiating a peaceful energy. My lunar mark, on my wrist, glowed with a faint, steady light, no longer a shimmering symbol of a possible curse, but a gentle beacon of restored balance. It was subtly different, the silvery sheen now infused with a golden hue, reflecting the new pact, the renewed connection to the sunstone itself. The pact is mended, the guardian's voice resonated, now clear and strong, filled with a deep satisfaction. The balance is restored. The curse is broken. You are the Luna of balance. Luna Aurora, the bridge between the moonwood and the mountains. But this new bond, this true connection to the sunstone, is a fragile thing. It must be nurtured. It requires constant awareness, a commitment to balance in all things. And it requires the acceptance of your alpha. For your bond to him will be transformed by this new truth. My heart swelled with a mixture of relief and trepidation. The curse was broken. My pack was saved. But what did this transformed bond mean for Alaric and me? Would he understand? Would he accept this new aspect of my power, this subtle shift in my very nature? Would he accept a Luna whose power was not solely drawn from traditional pack dynamics, but from a deeper, more ancient connection to the land itself? I was no longer just the chosen Luna. I was the Luna of balance, the living embodiment of a restored ancient pact. The journey back to the Moonwood Pack would be just as challenging, for I had to not only explain what I had done, but demonstrate its profound impact, not just on the land, but on my own being, and on the very nature of my bond to Alaric. The journey back from the Shadow Peak Mountains was starkly different from my arduous trek into their depths. The air, once heavy and oppressive, now felt crisp and clean, invigorated by a subtle current of revitalized energy. The landscape, though still rugged, seemed less desolate, a faint green beginning to emerge in patches of earth where before only rock had dominated. My steps felt lighter, my body infused with a quiet strength, a gentle flow of energy replacing the draining ache I had carried for weeks. The sunstone amulet, now warm against my chest, pulsed with a steady, comforting golden light, a tangible connection to the balance I had restored. My lunar mark, too, resonated with this new golden hue, a subtle shift from its original silvery glow. As I neared the moonwood territory, the scent of pine and damp earth, once a source of anxiety, now filled me with a profound sense of belonging. The land felt alive, vibrant, a stark contrast to the sickly pall that had settled over it when I left. The curse was broken. I felt it in my bones, in the renewed vitality that hummed through me. However, a new anxiety began to gnaw at me. How would Alaric react? How would the pack react? I was no longer just the chosen Luna, I was now the Luna of balance, connected to an ancient pact, my power subtly transformed. Would Alaric understand this shift? Would he accept this new facet of my being? A facet that had required a complete surrender of my own will, a redefinition of my purpose. I chose to approach the pack from a lesser-used path, wanting to avoid a dramatic entrance, preferring to assess the situation before facing them. As I got closer, I heard the sounds of a pack in recovery. The faint laughter of pups, the rhythmic thud of hunters practicing their throws, the distant murmur of voices. It wasn't the boisterous joy of before the curse, but it was a far cry from the despair I had left behind. Then I saw him. Alaric. He stood at the edge of the training grounds, his posture still formidable, but his golden eyes clouded with a deep worry. He was leading the small hunting party, their movements more purposeful than before, but still lacking the effortless grace that spoke of abundant prey. The land was healing, but it was a slow process. He had to be aware of my departure. His wolf, I knew, must have been restless, searching for me. My heart clenched. I wanted to rush to him, to explain everything, to lose myself in his comforting embrace. But I held back, knowing the burden of the truth I carried. As if sensing my presence, Alaric's head snapped up. His eyes, scanning the tree line, suddenly fixed on my hidden position. His breath hitched. For a moment he simply stared, disbelief warring with a raw, agonizing relief on his face. Then, with a roar that echoed through the valley, he shifted, his massive wolf form exploding from his human skin, streaks of golden fur shimmering in the dappled sunlight. He bounded towards me, his speed breathtaking. My own wolf stirred, yearning to meet him, but I remained rooted to the spot, allowing him to close the distance. He reached me in a blur, skidding to a halt just inches away. His eyes, the fierce golden gaze of his wolf, raked over me, searching for injuries, for signs of distress. He sniffed at me, inhaling my scent, then whimpered, a low, mournful sound, before nudging his massive head against my side, a gesture of profound relief and affection. Then he shifted back, his human form appearing before me, his eyes still shining with the raw emotion of his wolf. "Aurora!" he gasped, his voice thick with unspent emotion. He pulled me into a fierce embrace, crushing me against his chest. His fingers tangled in my hair, his body trembling. Where have you been? I sent out search parties. I was going mad with worry. I thought you had abandoned us. I buried my face in his shoulder, inhaling his familiar scent, the scent of strong pine and damp earth, mingled with his unique alpha scent, which now, to my heightened senses, held a subtle, healthier vibrancy. I had to go, Alaric, I whispered, my voice muffled against his tunic. I had to break the curse. He pulled back, his eyes searching mine, a flicker of confusion. He saw the golden glow on my lunar mark, the faint light emanating from the sunstone amulet beneath my cloak. The curse? What are you talking about? What is that light? His gaze sharpened, a hint of his alpha's protective wariness returning. The elders were right, Alaric, I began, my voice steadying, drawing on the new calm within me. I was the conduit of the curse, but not the cause. It's an ancient one, a betrayal from our ancestors against the Shadow Peak Guardians. The spirits of the mountains. The Sunstone Amulet was meant to be a pact of balance, but when our ancestors broke that pact through greed, it became a siphon, draining the life from our pack, from our lineage. Alaric's brow furrowed, his expression incredulous. Ancient betrayal? This is madness, Aurora. We know our history. Our ancestors were honorable. Not in this, I countered, my voice firm. I saw it. Through the amulet. I saw their pride, their hunger for dominion, their disregard for the balance. The sunstone amplified my presence, and because I carry that bloodline, the curse intensified. I reached into my cloak and pulled out the sunstone amulet, now glowing with a gentle, steady gold. I went to the Shadow Peaks, Alaric. I found the amulet, and I restored the balance. I made a new pact with the Guardians. I surrendered my will to coexistence, to harmony, not control. His golden eyes widened, fixed on the amulet, then on my now golden-tinged lunar mark. He reached out a hand, hovering uncertainly over the amulet, as if sensing the profound energy it now emitted. "Surrendered your will?" he echoed, a trace of concern in his voice. "What does that mean for you? For us? For your power as Luna?" "It means my power is now tied to balance, Alaric," I explained, meeting his gaze directly. "It's a connection to the land itself, to the flow of life and death, of giving and receiving. It means I can't simply assert dominance. I must foster harmony. It's a different kind of strength. And our Bondi, our chosen bonded, it is now infused with this deeper connection to the earth, to ancient magic. It's stronger, yes, but also different. It requires your acceptance of this new aspect of my power, of my purpose." He looked at me, his gaze searching, a myriad of emotions swirling in his golden eyes. Disbelief, concern, but also a profound, undeniable love. He could feel the shift, the subtle resonance of the amulet, the new quality of energy radiating from me. His alpha instincts, usually so focused on dominance, seemed to waver, confronted by a power that transcended his understanding, yet was undeniably pure. Suddenly, a young pup, usually sickly and frail, darted out from the nearby bushes, chasing a butterfly. Its laughter, clear and joyful, echoed through the clearing, a sound I hadn't heard in weeks. The butterfly, its wings bright and vibrant, danced in the air. As I watched, a wilting patch of wildflowers nearby seemed to perk up, their petals unfurling, regaining their colour, Alaric saw it too. His eyes snapped to the vibrant life around us, then back to my glowing mark, to the golden hum of the amulet. The evidence of my words was undeniable, manifesting right before his eyes. The curse was truly broken. Life was returning. A slow smile spread across his face, a warmth returning to his golden eyes that melted away all doubt. He reached out, not to the amulet, but to my hand, bringing it to his lips, reverently kissing my golden-tinged lunar mark. "Aurora," he whispered, his voice filled with awe and a profound understanding. "My Luna, my brave, incredible Luna. You didn't just break a curse. You healed an ancient wound. You brought back the balance. And you are more powerful than I ever imagined." He pulled me close again, his embrace fierce, possessive, but now tinged with a deep, humble respect for the new power I wielded. "I accept it all, Aurora, every part of you. This new power, this new balance. I will learn with you. We will lead together as Alpha and Luna of balance." His words were a balm to my soul, washing away the last vestiges of fear and self-doubt. The relief was overwhelming, a wave of profound peace washing over me. We were not just two wolves, bound by choice. We were Alpha and Luna of a newly awakened pack, connected to the very heart of the land, ready to lead them into a future guided by harmony, not just strength. The prophecy had been fulfilled. I was not the curse. I was the one who saved the pack. And in doing so, I had truly found my destiny, not as a symbol of power, but as a living embodiment of balance. The return of health to the Moonwood pack was a gradual, wondrous process, unfolding with the steady rhythm of nature itself. The wilting crops slowly regained their vibrant green. The spring water flowed with renewed vigour, and the sickness that had plagued the wolves receded, leaving behind a healthier, more resilient community. The pups, once listless, now scampered with boundless energy, their laughter echoing through the revitalized forest. My sunstone amulet, a constant warmth against my chest, continued to pulse with a gentle golden glow, and my lunar mark, now permanently imbued with that golden hue, served as a visible testament to the restored balance. Alaric, true to his word, embraced my new role as Luna of balance, with unwavering support and a profound, quiet awe. He often watched me with a contemplative expression, his golden eyes reflecting a deeper understanding of the world. He learned to listen to the subtle whispers of the land through me, to recognize the delicate flow of energy that connected all living things. Our bond, already strong, deepened further, weaving in this new spiritual layer, a powerful tapestry of love, respect, and shared purpose. Old Man Thorn, upon my return, had wept openly, his ancient eyes filled with a mixture of relief and reverence. "You have done what generations could not, Luna Aurora," he had whispered, his voice trembling. "You have mended the great wound. The Moonwood pack is truly blessed by the Moon Goddess and the Shadow Peak Guardians now." He became my devoted student, eager to learn of the balance I now embodied, helping me interpret the subtle signs of the rejuvenated land. My first task as Luna of Balance was to lead the pack in a formal ceremony of gratitude to the Shadow Peak Guardians. It was a humble, heartfelt ritual where we offered prayers and peace offerings to the mountains, acknowledging the ancient pact and asking for continued harmony. Alaric stood beside me, his presence solid and supportive, his powerful alpha aura subtly softened by a newfound reverence for the unseen forces that governed their world. This ceremony, repeated annually, became a cornerstone of the Moonwood Pact's new traditions, a constant reminder of their renewed connection to the land. The news of the Moonwood Pact's resurgence and the story of my journey to break an ancient curse began to spread through neighboring territories. Whispers, once filled with fear, now carried curiosity and respect. Other packs, facing their own environmental challenges or internal discord, began to seek counsel from the Moonwood Alpha and Luna. One particularly harsh winter brought a severe famine to the Skycrest Pack, a proud and isolated community residing in the northern mountains. Their alpha, a stern, traditional wolf named Thane, had always viewed the Moonwood Pack with suspicion, but desperation forced him to send a small, guarded envoy seeking aid. Alaric, recalling the Western Ridge Alliance, immediately extended an offer of assistance. But this time, the challenge was greater. Thane was deeply suspicious, wary of any perceived weakness or external influence. Roland approached Thane's envoy with a quiet dignity, offering not just provisions, but also knowledge. She spoke of the importance of spiritual connection to the land, of understanding its needs, of cultivating sustainable practices. She explained, with careful diplomacy, the story of the ancient Moonwood curse, not as a boast, but as a cautionary tale of imbalance. Intrigued, and despite his inherent skepticism, Thane agreed to a meeting. Alaric and Rowan journeyed to the Skycrest territory, a land of stark, breathtaking beauty, but currently suffering under the brutal grip of winter. Thane's pack was clearly struggling, their wolves gaunt, their spirits low. The meeting was fraught with tension. Thane questioned Rowan's methods, her unique connection to the Sunstone amulet, which glowed faintly beneath her tunic. A Luna whose power comes from ancient magic? This is unheard of, Moonwood Alpha. Our traditions are rooted in strength, in the Alpha's singular authority. My authority is only strengthened by my Luna's wisdom, Alpha Thane, Alaric replied, his voice firm, unwavering. Aurora understands the deeper currents of the land, the flow of life itself. Her power is not one of dominance, but of balance. It is a power that seeks harmony, not control. Rowan stepped forward, her gaze meeting Thane's directly, her voice calm and empathetic. Alpha Thane, the land speaks to us in many ways. Sometimes through abundance, other times through scarcity. The winter is harsh, yes, but sometimes a severe season can be a call to listen, to adapt, to find new ways of living in harmony with our environment. My connection to the Sunstone amulet allows me to understand these whispers, to help the land heal itself, and in turn, help your pack thrive. She offered a small bag of specially prepared herbs, cultivated by Old Man Thorn, known for boosting resilience in harsh conditions. These will help sustain your pack until the spring, and perhaps we can work together to find sustainable solutions for future winters. Solutions that work with the land, not against it. Thane, after a long, scrutinizing look, reluctantly accepted the herbs. Over the next few weeks, the Moonwood and Skycrest packs exchanged knowledge. Moonwood hunters shared techniques for tracking elusive winter game, while Rowan continued to advise on medicinal plants and spiritual resilience. She even shared her understanding of the Sunstone amulet, explaining how its balance could be mirrored in practical efforts to live in harmony with the changing seasons. As winter slowly receded and the first green shoots emerged, the Skycrest pack, though still recovering, had weathered the storm far better than Thane had anticipated. His pride, though still evident, was now tempered with genuine respect. He saw the tangible benefits of Rowan's unique power, not as a threat, but as a valuable ally. "Luna Aurora," Thane acknowledged, his voice gruff but sincere, as Alaric and Rowan prepared to depart. "Your wisdom has saved my pack. We owe you a debt." He paused, then added, almost reluctantly, Perhaps there is more to this balance than I understood." The alliance between the Moonwood and Skycrest packs, forged in the crucible of a harsh winter, marked a significant shift in regional dynamics. The Moonwood pack, once isolated by the whispers of a curse, now stood as a beacon of interconnectedness and a testament to the power of a Luna guided by true balance. Returning home, Alaric pulled Rowan close, their bond humming with a profound contentment. "You are truly remarkable, Aurora," he whispered, his golden eyes filled with an endless well of admiration. "You turn curses into blessings, and isolation into alliance. I thought I was simply claiming a Luna, but I found the heart of our world." Rowan smiled, leaning into his embrace. "And I thought I was the curse, destined to end our pack. But you, my alpha, gave me the courage to find the truth, to embrace my destiny, and to understand that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in domination, but in the delicate art of balance." Their future stretched before them, a canvas of shared purpose, endless possibilities, and an unwavering love, forever intertwined with the golden glow of the Sunstone amulet and the vibrant heart of a pack truly saved. The years that followed solidified the Moonwood pack's reputation as a beacon of harmony and resilience. Alpha Alaric, with Luna Aurora by his side, led with a wisdom that transcended traditional pack dynamics, embracing the interconnectedness of their world. Aurora's unique connection to the Sunstone amulet and her profound understanding of balance became the cornerstone of their leadership, guiding decisions from resource management to inter-pack diplomacy. The Moonwood territory flourished, its vitality a living testament to the broken curse and the renewed pact with the Shadow Peak Guardians. The bond between Alaric and Aurora deepened with each passing season. Their love, forged in the crucible of a terrifying prophecy and the grueling quest for redemption, was a powerful, quiet force. They moved as one, their thoughts often synchronized, their strengths complementing each other seamlessly. Their children, a spirited boy with Alaric's golden eyes and a serene girl with Aurora's knowing brown gaze, embodied the perfect blend of their parents' strengths. They were taught from infancy about the delicate balance of nature, about respect for the land, and about the power of selfless action. One late autumn, a strange phenomenon began to occur in the deeper parts of the Moonwood forest. Ancient, long-dormant trees, some whispered to be older than the pack itself, began to awaken. Their bark, usually gnarled and silent, pulsed with a faint, otherworldly glow, and the air around them hummed with a subtle, resonant energy. It was a beautiful, yet unsettling, occurrence. Old Man Thorn, now even more frail, but his mind as sharp as ever, was the first to recognize the signs. He sought out Aurora, his eyes wide with a mixture of wonder and apprehension. "Luna, Aurora," he whispered, his voice raspy. The ancient grove stirs. The elder trees are there waking. This has not happened in centuries, not since before the great betrayal. Aurora felt the subtle resonance herself, a deep hum from the sunstone amulet against her chest, echoing the pulse of the ancient trees. Her connection to the balance allowed her to perceive the energy shifts. "What does it mean, Elder?" she asked, her voice calm. "The legends say," Old Man Thorn explained, his gaze distant, "that when the balance is truly restored and the land fully healed, the ancient spirits of the forest begin to stir. They carry memories, Luna, memories of the past and visions of the future. But they are also protective. They test the new balance, ensure its purity." Alaric, sensing the gravity of the situation, accompanied Aurora to the ancient grove. The sight was breathtaking. Massive, moss-covered trees, their branches reaching like gnarled arms towards the sky, glowed with an internal ethereal light. The air here was thick with ancient power, a palpable presence that filled them with both reverence and a healthy dose of caution. As they stepped deeper into the grove, the glowing intensified. The ground beneath their feet seemed to vibrate with a low thrum. Suddenly, from the very heart of the largest elder tree, a spectral light emerged, taking the form of a towering wolf, its eyes like ancient starlight. This was an ancient guardian, a spirit of the forest, and its presence commanded immediate respect. "The balance has been restored. Luna of Balance," the guardian's voice echoed, not through sound, but directly into their minds, a clear, resonant thought. "The ancient wound, mended, but the trials are not over. True balance requires enduring vigilance. It requires a willingness to face the shadows of the past, not just heal their wounds." The guardian then projected a series of vivid images into their minds. Scenes of conflict between wolf packs, not of their time, but of centuries past. It depicted ancient feuds, territories fiercely contested, and a particular instance where a desperate, losing pack had resorted to forbidden magic, not as powerful as Lyra's, but enough to create a lingering imbalance, a subtle wound in the spirit of the forest itself. This was the source of the Guardian's apprehension. This lingering shadow, the Guardian's thought resonated, must be cleansed. It is a scar on the collective spirit of the forest. Only then can the true, enduring harmony be achieved. The Guardian then showed them a specific, remote valley, shrouded in mist, where this ancient imbalance persisted. This valley holds the remnants of that dark magic. It draws those with unstable wills, tempting them with false power. It must be purified. Alaric immediately understood the implication. This wasn't just a spiritual task, it was a preventative measure. Such lingering dark energy could be exploited, just as Lyra had exploited the Sunstone's original imbalance. "We will go, Guardian," Alaric stated, his voice firm. "We will purify this shadow. Only the Luna of Balance and the Alpha who truly trusts her sight can achieve this," the Guardian's thought replied. "The path is treacherous, and the remnants of fear and anger will test your resolve. But success will bring a deeper peace, an enduring connection to the ancient spirit of this land." With that, the spectral wolf dissolved back into the heart of the elder tree, leaving behind a profound stillness. Aurora and Alaric returned to the den, their minds filled with the Guardian's warning and the new mission. Old Man Thorn, listening intently, recognized the valley the Guardian had described. "The Valley of Whispers," he murmured. "A place of sorrow and forgotten battles. It has been avoided for generations." The journey to the Valley of Whispers was indeed challenging. The terrain was uneven, the air heavy with an indefinable sadness. As they delved deeper, the atmosphere grew colder, and faint, unsettling sounds seemed to echo on the wind whispers of fear, snatches of ancient arguments, ghostly cries of battle. Aurora, guided by the insistent hum of her sunstone amulet, felt the lingering resentment and sorrow, the emotional residue of centuries of unresolved conflict. They found the remnants of an ancient battleground, scattered, rusted weapons, crumbling stone markers, and a pervasive sense of desolation. In the center of the valley, a small, murky pool shimmered with an unnatural, sickly green light, the source of the lingering imbalance. This was where the forbidden magic had been used, its residue poisoning the land. As they approached the pool, the spectral forms of ancient wolves flickered into existence around them, not hostile, but trapped, their faces etched with the fear and anger of their final moments. They were the lingering echoes of the long-dead pack members who had succumbed to the dark magic, their spirits unable to find peace. Aurora knew this wasn't a battle for strength, but for healing. She knelt by the murky pool, holding the sunstone amulet over its surface. Its golden light pulsed, struggling against the dark green glow of the pool. She closed her eyes, focusing all her will, all her connection to balance, channeling the pure energy of the sunstone into the poisoned water. She projected thoughts of peace, of forgiveness, of release, not just for the spirits, but for the land itself. Alaric stood beside her, his hand resting firmly on her shoulder, lending his strength, his unwavering belief to her efforts. He watched as the spectral figures around them, drawn by Aurora's calming energy, slowly began to shift, their expressions softening, their forms becoming less agitated. The process was arduous, draining. Aurora felt the resistance of centuries of negative energy pushing back against her. But she persevered, drawing on the immense power of her bond with Alaric, on the love for her pack, and on the ancient wisdom of the balance she now embodied. Slowly, agonizingly, the murky green glow of the pool began to recede, replaced by the warm golden light of the sunstone amulet. The water clarified, becoming crystal clear, reflecting the pure blue of the sky. The lingering whispers faded, replaced by a profound, comforting silence. The spectral forms of the ancient wolves, their faces now peaceful, seemed to shimmer, then dissolved into motes of light that drifted upwards, finally finding their rest. When Aurora opened her eyes, exhausted but exhilarated, the valley felt different. The air was lighter, cleaner. The sadness had lifted. It was as if the land itself had sighed in relief. Alaric pulled her into his arms, his relief palpable. "You did it, my Luna," he murmured, his voice filled with awe. "You purified it. The Valley of Whispers it is silent now. Returning to the Moonwood Pack, a deep, lasting peace seemed to settle over the territory. The ancient grove's glow, while still present, was now softer, more harmonious. The elder trees hummed with contentment. The Moonwood Pack, having faced the true extent of their past and purified its lingering shadows, was stronger than ever. Alaric and Aurora often visited the Valley of Whispers, now a place of serene beauty, its waters clear and its silence peaceful. It served as a constant reminder of the journey they had shared, of the depth of their bond, and of the enduring power of balance. Aurora, the Luna who was once feared as a curse, now stood as the embodiment of redemption, a beacon of hope, leading her pack and her beloved Alpha towards a future of true, unwavering harmony. Their souls intertwined with the very essence of the revitalized earth. The purification of the Valley of Whispers marked a new chapter for the Moonwood Pack. The lingering shadows of ancient conflicts finally lifted, allowing a profound, enduring peace to settle over their territory. Luna Aurora's connection to the Sunstone Amulet deepened, its golden glow a constant, comforting presence, guiding her instincts and amplifying her perception of the natural world. Alpha Alaric, having witnessed firsthand the profound impact of her unique power, became an even more steadfast champion of balance, his leadership now firmly rooted in cooperation and understanding rather than mere dominance. Their children, now entering their adolescent years, were growing into strong, insightful wolves. Their son, Lyra, inherited Alaric's strength and strategic mind, while their daughter, Ilara, possessed Aurora's empathetic spirit and a nascent connection to the subtle energies of the earth. Aurora spent countless hours with Ilara, teaching her to listen to the whispers of the wind, to feel the pulse of the earth, fostering a deeper awareness of the balance that permeated their lives. The Moonwood Pack's reputation for harmony and wisdom spread far beyond the immediate territories. Envoys from distant packs, some from across mountain ranges and vast plains, began to arrive, seeking counsel from Alpha Alaric and Luna Aurora. They came not just for aid in times of crisis, but for guidance on sustainable living, conflict resolution, and fostering deeper spiritual connections with their own lands. One particular spring, a delegation arrived from the Coastal Tides Pack, a people known for their fierce independence and their deep connection to the ocean. Their Luna, a spirited wolf named Coralia, bore an expression of profound worry. Their coastal lands, usually teeming with marine life, were experiencing unprecedented droughts, causing fish populations to plummet and their once fertile shorelines to recede. Their pack was on the brink of starvation. Alaric and Aurora greeted them with their usual warmth and openness. Coralia, however, was initially wary, her eyes darting to Aurora's glowing sunstone amulet with a mixture of awe and suspicion. "We have heard whispers of your Luna's unique power," Coralia began, her voice strained. "A power connected to the land, to balance. But our challenge is of the ocean, not the mountains." Aurora smiled gently. "Balance extends to all things, Luna Coralia, whether mountain or sea. The earth and water are intrinsically linked. An imbalance in one often affects the other." She spent hours listening to Coralia, patiently absorbing the details of their plight, feeling the distress of the ocean and its creatures through her connection to the Sunstone. After much deliberation, and with the full support of the Moonwood elders, Alaric and Aurora decided to journey to the coastal tides pack. It was a perilous journey, crossing vast stretches of unfamiliar terrain, but the urgency of the situation and Aurora's deep empathy for the suffering coastal tides wolves compelled them forward. They travelled with a small, skilled escort, their journey a testament to the Moonwood Pack's commitment to interpack unity. Upon reaching the coast, Aurora felt an immediate resonance. The ocean, usually a vibrant, living entity, felt muted. The air, typically thick with the scent of salt and healthy marine life, was now dry and thin. The vast sandy beaches were stark, the usual abundance of shellfish and kelp noticeably absent. The coastal tides wolves were gaunt, their spirits dimmed by the struggle. During a council with Alpha Ronan, Coralia's mate, and the coastal tides elders, Aurora explained her understanding of the imbalance. "The energy of the ocean," she began, holding up the sunstone amulet, which pulsed with a soft investigative light, "is being drawn away, not by a curse, as with our pack's past, but by a subtle, prolonged disharmony. Your people have, perhaps unknowingly, taken more from the sea than they have given back. Overfishing, neglecting the sacred offerings, taking the abundance for granted, these small imbalances, over time, have created a significant drain." Ronan, a proud alpha, bristled slightly. "We honor the ocean. Our lives depend on it." "Indeed," Alaric interjected, his voice calm and firm. "But true honor is in understanding the delicate balance. It is not about blame, Alpha Ronan, but about recognizing where the flow has been disrupted." Aurora then proposed a radical solution. "We must work to restore the ocean's energy. This will require not just conservation, but acts of intentional reciprocity. We will perform ceremonies of giving, offering back to the ocean, replenishing its spirit. And for a time, your pack must learn to live with less, to allow the ocean to heal itself. My connection to the Sunstone Amulet will allow me to guide these rituals, to help you feel the ocean's energy respond." The coastal tides elders, initially hesitant, were swayed by Coralia's earnest plea and the visible desperation of their pack. They agreed to follow Aurora's guidance. For weeks, Aurora, with Alaric by her side, led the coastal tides wolves in ceremonies unlike any they had known. They offered sacred herbs and purified water to the tides. They spent hours in silent meditation by the receding shoreline, projecting thoughts of gratitude and replenishment to the ocean. They implemented strict conservation practices, reducing their fishing efforts to the bare minimum. Aurora, using her connection to the Sunstone Amulet, acted as a conduit, channeling gentle, restorative energy from the earth itself into the ocean, a subtle rebalancing of elemental forces. It was a slow, painstaking process. There were days of frustration, moments of doubt, but gradually, imperceptibly at first, the tide began to turn. A faint, renewed vitality began to shimmer in the ocean air. Small schools of fish, once absent, started to appear near the shore. The scent of thriving marine life, subtle but undeniable, began to return. One morning, as the sun rose over the vast expanse of the ocean, a massive wave, unusually large and powerful, crashed onto the shore. It wasn't a destructive wave, but one of immense, restorative energy. As it receded, It left behind not just sand, but an abundance of glistening fish and healthy shellfish, more than they had seen in months. The ocean had responded. The balance was returning. The coastal tides pack erupted in joyous howls, their spirits revitalized, their gratitude boundless. Alpha Ronan clasped Alaric's hand, his eyes filled with genuine respect. "Luna Aurora," he declared, turning to her, his voice choked with emotion. "You are truly a gift. You have not just saved our lives, you have taught us a profound truth. We will forever be indebted to the Moonwood Pack." Coralia, her own lunar mark glowing with a renewed vibrancy, embraced Aurora fiercely. "You showed me what it truly means to be a Luna," she whispered. "To listen to the earth, to heal, to guide with balance." Returning to the Moonwood Pack, Alaric and Aurora were met with joyous celebration. Their children rushed to greet them, their faces alight with pride. The experience had not only strengthened their alliances, but had also deepened their own understanding of their intertwined destiny. That night, as they lay in their den, the gentle hum of the Sunstone amulet radiating peace, Alaric held Aurora close. "You are truly the heart of our world, Aurora," he murmured, his voice filled with an endless well of love. "From being seen as a curse, you have become a beacon of balance, guiding not just our pack, but others towards a harmonious future. Our bond, once tested by ancient shadows, now shines as a testament to the truth." Aurora smiled, nestled comfortably against him. "And you, my Alpha, with a courage that allowed me to find that truth. Together, we are building a legacy, one where balance and understanding reign, a world where no Luna, no pack, need ever feel like a curse again." Their love, intertwined with the ancient magic of the land, promised a future of enduring peace. Their destiny now inextricably linked with the harmony of the entire wolf world. The reputation of the Moonwood Pack, and especially Luna Aurora, continued to grow, fueled by the tales of healed lands and restored calm. Balance. Their approach, once considered radical, was slowly becoming the standard for progressive packs across the continent. Alaric and Aurora found themselves increasingly called upon to mediate disputes, offer guidance on resource management, and even assist in healing territories suffering from various forms of imbalance, whether environmental or spiritual. Their children, Lyra and Ilara, were actively involved in these endeavors, learning firsthand the responsibilities of leadership and the profound power of harmony. One particularly significant request came from the far eastern reaches, from the Great Plains Pack, a sprawling community known for their vast hunting grounds and nomadic traditions. Their plea was urgent. A mysterious illness was sweeping through their wolf herds, debilitating them and threatening the pack's very survival. What was most alarming was that the illness seemed to defy all known remedies, weakening not just the body, but the spirit of the wolves. Alaric and Aurora, sensing the gravity of the situation, decided to embark on this extensive journey. They left their children under the care of Old Man Thorn and trusted pack elders, and set out with a small, specialized team, including a few of Aurora's trained healers and skilled trackers. The journey was long and arduous, spanning weeks across diverse landscapes, from dense forests to rolling hills, before finally reaching the expansive, windswept plains. Upon arrival, The sight that greeted them was heartbreaking. The Great Plains pack, once vibrant and robust, was subdued and fearful. Their wolf herds, their lifeblood, moved sluggishly, their coats dull, their eyes lacking their usual fire. Alpha Ronan, a grizzled, experienced leader, greeted them with a solemn nod, his face etched with worry lines. Luna, Aurora, Alpha Alaric, Ronan's voice was strained. We are grateful for your presence. This sickness, it defies us. Our healers are exhausted. Our elders are at a loss. He led them to the communal dens, where many wolves lay listless, their breathing shallow. Aurora immediately began her assessment, her sunstone amulet pulsating with a steady, investigative rhythm. She moved among the ailing wolves, her hands hovering over them, sensing the subtle disharmony within their bodies. What she felt was profound, a deep, spiritual emptiness, as if their connection to the very plains they lived on was severed. It wasn't a physical disease in the traditional sense, it was a profound spiritual blight. That evening, during a council meeting, Aurora shared her findings. This illness, she began, her voice calm but grave, is not of the body, but of the spirit. Your connection to the plains, to the earth beneath your paws, has been severed. It is a spiritual starvation, manifesting as physical decay. Alpha Ronan and his elders exchanged bewildered glances. Severed? How can that be? We honor the plains, Luna. It is our home, our life. Our life. Indeed, Alaric affirmed, that sometimes, in our pursuit of progress, we forget to listen to the whispers of the land. Aurora, explain what you've felt. Aurora closed her eyes, focusing on the hum of her sunstone amulet. I sense a deep sorrow in the land itself, she explained, her voice carrying an ethereal quality. A wound, not of betrayal as with our past, but of neglect. For generations, your pack has followed the herds, adapting to their movements. But perhaps you've forgotten to truly connect with the plains as a living entity. You've become transient, taking without grounding. The spirits of the plains feel ignored, unacknowledged. Ronan looked skeptical. Spirits? We are hunters, Luna, not mystics. But the spirit of the land nourishes the hunt, Aurora gently countered. It allows the herds to thrive, the grass to grow. When that connection withers, so too does all life that depends on it. She explained that the Great Plains pack had become too focused on the immediate chase, on the migration patterns of the herds, and had slowly lost their ancient rituals of gratitude and deep spiritual grounding to the specific plots of land they traversed. They had been nomads for so long, they had forgotten to connect. Aurora proposed a solution that was both simple and profound. The pack must re-establish their spiritual connection to the plains. This would involve a series of grounding rituals, daily meditations of gratitude, and a commitment to nurturing specific areas of the plains through intentional care, not just by following the herds. It meant becoming guardians of the land, not just its users. The task was daunting for a nomadic pack. It challenged their very way of life. But seeing the suffering of their kin, Alpha Ronan, with a heavy heart, agreed to try. For weeks, Aurora guided the Great Plains pack. She taught them ancient moonwood grounding techniques, adapted for the plains. They sat in silent contemplation, paws pressed to the earth, feeling its pulse. They performed ceremonies of gratitude, offering songs and prayers to the spirits of the wind, the grass, and the sky. Aurora, utilizing the Sunstone amulet, acted as a bridge, channeling the gentle, healing energies of the renewed moonwood connection to help reawaken the dormant spiritual links within the Great Plains wolves, the land they lived on. Alaric, meanwhile, worked tirelessly with Ronan, helping to strategize new hunting methods that were more sustainable, focusing on minimal impact and emphasizing respect for the herds. He shared Moonwood's wisdom on seasonal rotations and ethical practices. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the tide began to turn. The ailing wolves showed signs of recovery, their eyes regaining their spark. The hads too seemed to regain their vigor, their movements more fluid. The plains, under the intentional care of the pack, seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, its grasses growing thicker, its breezes carrying a cleaner scent. One dawn, as the sun painted the vast plains in hues of gold and rose, a collective howl of joy erupted from the Great Plains pack. Their elders, who had been meditating by an ancient, sacred mound, declared that the spirits of the plains had spoken. The connection was restored. The balance was returning. Alpha Ronan, his face streaked with tears of relief, embraced Alaric fiercely. "Luna Aurora," he boomed, turning to her, his voice filled with overwhelming gratitude. "You have saved us. You have shown us that true strength lies not just in the chase, but in the heart, in our connection to the very earth that Paak sustains us." He looked at her sunstone amulet, now glowing with a vibrant, consistent light. "Your power is truly a blessing, a beacon for all wolves." Returning to the Moonwood pack, Alaric and Aurora were hailed as heroes. Their children rushed into their arms, their faces shining with pride. The journey had been long, but the reward was immense. Another pack saved, another alliance forged, and a deeper understanding gained of the interconnectedness of all life. That night, as they sat by their den fire, the warmth of the flames mingling with the gentle hum of the sunstone amulet, Alaric looked at Aurora, his golden eyes filled with an endless well of love and admiration. "You were once seen as a curse, my Luna," he murmured, stroking her hand, tracing the golden tint of her lunar mark. "But you have become the ultimate healer, not just of wolves, but of worlds. You mend the unseen wounds, guiding all towards balance." Aurora leaned into him, her heart full. "And you, my Alpha, are the unwavering strength that allows me to do so. You trust me, you support me, you walk beside me into the unknown. Together, we are not just leaders of our pack, but guardians of balance for all. A future forged, not from fear, but from the unwavering power of harmony." Their bond, tested and proven across countless challenges, now shone as a testament to their enduring love and their shared destiny, weaving a legacy of peace and prosperity for generations to come.